in order to develop investment mentality, we must first eradicate toxic mentalities that exist as hindrances to it. So before you begin to work on building yourself, there are certain things you must clean out, certain way you've been thinking that must be cleaned out. And we said that there are five toxic mentalities that needs to be cleaned out first, right? Number one is the nomadic mentality. It's the brain behind the vagabond way of living life. Some people live and exhibit, just like nomads. They don't have a fixed address, no fixed location. People with nomadic mentality go from job to job. Okay, this is the job that is moving now. Like everybody is moving to tech now. Instead, go join them, move. Straight. They move from job to job or place to place. Like I used to have a cousin who the big boy is the island. And he said, saying be big boy. Now so he move go island. He move go island. First year, water spoiling. Vagabond mentality. Number 3 is people that have this nomadic mentality. They move from business to business without focus or consistency. They move from business to business. Say, now this business, now they move market. Now they move. Oh yeah. You just say, Emeka, they say no, now this one now they do now. They do business where they move market. They move from business to business. They lack staying power to concentrate on one thing until it produces. Nomads are wanderers without any plan to own anything. All they do is to wipe out the resources they see in place and move on to the next one. Move on to the next place. Okay? So 2 major characteristics of a nomad. No fixed address. They have no fixed address. They wander from place to place. And 2, consuming and not producing. They consume all they see wherever they go and don't plant or produce. So to develop investment mentality and create wealth, you must eradicate nomadic mentality and not become a jack of all trades and master of none. Oh yeah. And number 2, consumer mentality. Consumer mentality. That's the second toxic mentality that must go. And it means that to always consume without producing is a great error, because many people spend all their lives consuming everything they get without any provision for savings and investment. To consume all that one has without savings or investment is unwise, and it attracts poverty and lack. It attracts poverty and lack. Now, instead of living a prodigal lifestyle of unrestrained spending, everyone needs to save at least 10 to 20% of all their income. Developing a savings and investment culture is vital for anyone who wants to create wealth. Now, don't consume all that you make so that you can secure your future and avert financial shame. Don't eat with your 10 phalanges. Don't eat with your 10 fingers. Always make sure that you are keeping something away. And I believe you must have heard, the phrase of, third world nations. Now, why are some nations called third world nations? The creator, God Almighty, create third worlds. Are there fourth worlds? Now, the term third world nation is used mainly to describe the consumer nation that are not as developed as they should be. They consume more than they produce, and they keep them at the, because of that attitude, it keeps them at the bottom of the economic ladder, because their money exists. Their money exits their system to pay for their importations from producer nations. So it is time to let go of the consumer mentality, because it's not doing you any good. It's not doing you any good. So start to make sure that you are putting something away. Now, let me quickly say this. I promised I was going to say this. Now, most people don't have issues with savings. Where they have issues is when they save. How does their savings become safe from them? Because it's one thing to save, and it's another thing for your savings to be safe from you. or save from people that want to collect it from you. Now, if you want your savings to be safe from you, number one thing you need to do, don't just save. And we say it all the time at the FBI, location. If you are saving, what are you saving for? Title your savings. Give that savings a title. So, okay, I want to buy a land. That's the title for the savings. So it means that that money you are saving is no longer available to you. It is not available to you. Now, how do I mean? That money is already titled. It has where it is going already. It is just waiting in that account to complete and go to where you want to send it, which is to buy land. Now, once you have given your savings a title, it is not available. That money is not yours. Now, when you divert funds, the money that you want to use to buy land, they now call you from the village. You now send money from that fund. You are a thief. Because what you have done is you have diverted funds. And when politicians divert funds, what do we call them? Yeah. There's one that we had a collapse and amen. Leave it there. So title your savings. Title your savings. And now be disciplined. If you have a conscience, you will tell yourself that money is not available. Now, it is not just to the person who's trying to get it from you. You also need to discipline yourself to say, you know what? I don't have that money. So you will look for other means to get money for the exigencies that has arrived. Oh yeah. That's the discipline that rich people have that poor people don't have. And this is what has kept a lot of people in the space of poverty and lack. So if you want your financial life to change, you need to start to take your savings seriously and be determined, be disciplined, be diligent about your savings. Title your savings. That is one way to keep your savings safe from you. Title it. Title it. All right. Number 3, mentality that needs to be eradicated is the victim or entitlement mentality. Now, the third toxic mentality that needs to be eradicated is the victim and entitlement mentality. That mindset of always feeling victimized, marginalized, and always feeling that someone owes you something, it has to go. No one can make you fail without your permission. So whatever you allow or permit is what you get. Whatever you allow or permit is what you get. So giving excuses and shifting blames are trademarks of this mindset. Giving excuses and shifting blames, they are trademarks of this mindset. You hear stuff like, it's because I'm black. Those the ones that are outside the country is because I'm black. You know how it is here now. You know that people hating on us and racial comments because I'm black. It's because I'm a woman. It's because I'm a woman. That's why they're looking down on me. No, it's because we are in the minority. Or you hear stuff like, oh, it's because I'm an orphan. If my parents did not die when I was small, would they be doing this? Yeah. You hear stuff like that. It's because of my enemies, all the enemies. It's because I'm not educated, because I don't go to school. They pay me. So it's because I'm from a poor family, I'm from a poor background. Excuses. Giving excuses and shifting blames is their trademark of this mindset. Amazingly, for every excuse you give, there are 1,001 person with worse circumstances that have made it. Oh yeah, you never say orphan. We don't get papa, we don't get mama. But today he's become a voice. He has been able to make impact in his world. A victim mentality, it keeps you in the same spot until you eradicate it, until you let it go, until you pursue it, until you delete it. You will remain in the same spot. Number 4 mentality, toxic mentality that needs to go is the civil service or salary mentality. Civil service or salary mentality. Now, this one has to do with the fact that Many stay in the poverty zone because they live all their lives expecting their boss, their employer, the government to make them rich and wealthy. You need to wake up. You need to wake up. Because your boss is not your source, but just a resource. Your boss is not your source, but just a resource. Your job is not your source, but just a resource. Your job is not your source, but just a resource. And your employer is not your source, but just a resource. Oh, yeah. So you need to put all of these things in the proper perspective. Your salary is not your source, but just a resource. The government is not your source, but just a resource. It is not your employer's responsibility to make you rich. It is not your employer's responsibility to make you rich. The responsibility is yours. And it's not even the government's responsibility to make you rich. The government is to create an enabling environment for you. Now, while your employer is to pay you a salary, which now becomes your seed investment and wealth creation. So it is not how much you make or earn that matters, but what you do with what you make and earn. If you do the right thing with it, you can change your story. You can change your story. And you must move from salary mentality to income mentality. Because when you allow this shift in your mindset, you suddenly grasp the difference between being a salary earner and being an income earner. So let's juxtapose. Salary. Salary is fixed. It is determined by someone else other than you. It does not increase except someone else decides. It will only come when you labor for it. No work, no pay. Remember, it is never a true reflection of your worth, value, or result, but a limitation on your true potential. It stops when you stop working. It can be delayed, withheld, deducted, even stopped by someone else. The list is endless. It can go on and on. However, when it comes to income, it is not fixed, but varies per time. You can determine your income level. It increases exponentially without people's limitation. It comes whether you labor or not, because the system operates itself. With salary, it is no work, no pay. But with income, it is income, or better still, it is money working for you. It reflects, that's talking about income now. Income, it reflects your true worth, value, and ability. It is free from the manipulation and oppression of man. And I want to quickly, accommodate number 5, and I'll stop there. Number 5 has to talk about prosperity or materialism mentality. Now, this is one area where we are suffering a whole lot. And this has to go. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not against money, riches, or wealth. But what is sometimes, touted as prosperity is nothing but materialism and self-centeredness. If your only reason for wanting to be rich and wealthy is so that you can acquire material possessions and get comfort for yourself and family alone, then your mindset is wrong. You must move from prosperity mindedness to posterity mindedness. Posterity mindedness. Now, your desire should be to make money so you can make impact. And you should be more concerned about using your wealth to affect your generation positively and also leave a legacy behind for future generations. Now, it is not all about being empowered to empower others. So these 5 toxic mentalities must be eradicated to make room for the development of an investment mentality. You must eradicate all of this. You must take it away. You must start to think differently. All right. That is when the eradication has truly and really happened.